What's going on, everybody? We're going to check out The Long Walk, the latest incarnation of a Stephen King story, because, he has a million of them. And yeah, let's check it out. Damn.
Yeah, it's intense. And it seems like they are being pretty faithful to the book. I read The Long Walk, I think, maybe during the pandemic, which was very interesting because it's a story that kind of has those similar that feel, right? That there's this world, a version of the world that we all know has gone or died or passed on, and now what's left is this remnant of human society that has figured this way to survive with the limited resources that are available. And what, the great thing about this story is that it is the sort of progenitor to the Hunger Games, and a lot of these stories that are about using children or teens to compete with the promise of, at the end of this, you'll have a better life than this dystopian world has to offer. But of course, because of Stephen King, you don't know why the world is the way it is, which makes it doubly, that in and of itself becomes a MacGuffin in the story. And even though as you're reading it, you're wondering what happened because it's clearly America. They start in the Midwest. Some of the places where they identify, I know where where he was talking about. And so he designs it so that it's so close to home, and yet it's so far away in a way that The Purge kind of was in terms of storytelling in our society. It's alternate, but it's close enough to where we can feel it almost like breathing down our neck. Like we're not that far from this type of society.
That always seems like that's how Stephen King used to always do, is kind of like a close to what's happening, but not just a little bit of a twist in how things could go wrong if we were just a little bit more evil than us trying to be fake evil, fake good kind of a thing.
Yeah, one decision this way or a choice that way could lead to this thing or that thing happening. I think that's sort of been his skill, and even The Long Walk has a sort of timeless and prophetic feel to it when you consider when he wrote it. And this is one of his very first stories that he published out of school. And so the people you see on the side, they're supporters, they're also voyeurs. They're watching to see when these kids will inevitably stop walking and have the inevitable happen to them. Because once they enter this competition and they start that long walk, it doesn't end until they do.
I'm assuming this is something they're drafted into and not something they volunteer for.
No, this is totally something they volunteer for.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes, they know exactly what they're signing up for. But the world and society is that desperate to where they will risk their own life to give a better life to them on the other side of this, or to family that they leave behind.
Wow. Okay, so you're saying whatever is going on in the world is the MacGuffin, because for anybody to volunteer for this asinine competition or contest to because everybody knows there's only one survivor, and if you're entering this voluntarily, the world's got to be effed up to beyond capacity just to even risk your life.
It is limited resources, all that stuff.
Okay, so and the second thing is, and I'm just thinking on the survival mode. Do you forge friendships or do you not forge friendships in this structure? I'm like, well, how, it sounds like some people became friends and had united fronts, but ultimately there's only one survivor. It's a very interesting.
Think of it like the reality game show.
But there's no death.
Similar pain. Well, yeah, the difference being your life is not on the line.
Yeah, and this is not a critique on it. It's just
no. I get exactly what you're saying. I won't answer those questions because it'll be interesting for you to find out on your own when you watch it, if you do, or if you should decide to read the book. The book isn't that long, and I highly recommend it.
I'll probably do both.
Yeah.
Two last things. Two, my ass wouldn't do it. I got Achilles tendonitis, so I know I was dying. I deal with whatever's going to deal with. And second of all, kudos. I didn't know that was Mark Hamill in the trailer.
Yep, that is Mark Hamill in one of his, I wouldn't say rare villain roles because he's played one of the most famous villains of all time, but you don't see him in live action villain roles that much. So to see him as the Major, who is a very sinister character who is supposed to represent this institution that's in power, right? That's why his name is never revealed. He's only called the Major. Because he, as an individual, doesn't matter. He is the state, and the state is him, and that plays out well too. The lead character is actually Philip Seymour Hoffman's son. I saw that when I looked it up to see some of the information on the movie. But yeah, I think this looks good. The trailer was well done. It reminds me. Just how better British actors are at doing American accents than the other way around. Because the actor playing Pete was also in Alien Romulus, and he is British, and he sounds like a Southern black dude to me. And I don't think I would have said that if it was an American trying to sound like a British. Because we've all had that complaint. But yeah, I think this would be a good Stephen King entry. I highly recommend the book. And if they nail the film, again, he's got some really unique stories like that that makes you question society in general, because you then question the humanity of it all. Why would these guys choose likely death? But then there's always that one human trait, or that basis of human traits, which is hope, right? And in addition to fear, but hope can sometimes win out. And if you hope that you can somehow do this and provide a better life, and what's brilliant is that typically with his characters, everybody has different motivations for why they're there. And each person's reason is a legitimate thing. You can put yourself in that state of thinking, because here's something else to consider. This is a world where people are starving to death, where people are caught in the thick of the summer and they die of heat stroke because there is no civilian government that cushions them. Like, that's the whole thing. Like, everything has collapsed. Things are intact. People still have houses, but they're going out to find their next meal. It's not something that it's not the cushioned decadence of society that we know. So that's another thing that plays in the horror of the story.
Yeah, this full length trailer pays off the feeling in the pit of my stomach that I felt when I was watching the teaser. I was left speechless when I saw it. I'm kind of speechless now. It looks dire. If nothing else, the trailer does a really good job of making you feel what I'm sure will probably be worse in the film. So, I'm in hesitantly.
This reminds me of a really bad What Would You Do for a Klondike Bar commercial where it went terribly wrong. So
there's that.
That's very good. I like that. It's such a disturbing analogy, but it's so
yeah, like the extreme version of What Would You Do for a Klondike Bar.
Exactly, and that's what this is.
Cam and D'Angelo and Cam for a Klondike Bar.
But that's the last Klondike bar in the world, and
how hot is it outside? How hot is it outside?
I mean, it had that. It's in the same realm, because I had heard about it because of like those, like, hey, these are the top 100 teenage books you should read, or something like that. And it had
yes,
and it's in that realm, and it also has parallels to like Battle Royale and the Japanese novel, which became a manga, which became an anime, which became a live action, which became the basis of Hunger Games. But it's in that realm, and it's one of those things where, like, that's why I've always heard about it, and to that, I didn't realize it was his very, very first novel that he wrote. It wasn't his first published novel, but you're right. It was the one he wrote in college, which is
literally the first novel that he wrote. Yeah.
It's crazy that he was writing like this in college. Like, yo, Stephen King's beast, man.
And you think about it, it's like that, like I was saying about the voyeurism reality show. So he's ahead of this. He's pushing way decades ahead of where society was already going in terms of people being entertained by the pain and misery and sometimes blatant violence inflicted upon others.
Reality TV.
Crazy. All right, everybody, thanks for watching with us and recapping, and we'll see you guys later. Peace.